All right, guys, we've got an interview with Emma, so I'm not going to introduce you. I'm going to let you introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're doing currently.
My name is Emma Goldstraw and my business is Total Health. And so currently, obviously in these times, I'm becoming a bit more of a virtual personal trainer. And my speciality, I'm really interested in human movement, and I also look into seniors and look at that population and encourage that population to move a bit more. And also moving into sort of health coaching as well.
Cool.
And yeah, and I'm based in Auckland.
Awesome, cool. So, obviously, we're in a COVID era at the minute, so it's all on lockdown. Hence why I'm able to get so many people interviewed at the minute, which is quite good for me, but not good for everyone else. What was that?
We've got the time to do it, so it's a good time.
Well, that's it. Hey, everyone's got a bit of time on their hands. So, so what did you? Because you weren't a PT. You've not always done PT. You came from a corporate background, was it? If I remember rightly.
I came from quite opposite of being healthy, a hospitality background. So I ran bars and restaurants for about 16 years of my life. So obviously that resulted in me being a little bit unhealthy. Lots of food and booze. So that's how, I kind of started in the industry. I just kind of wanted a change, and I started looking after myself a little bit more, and then got really into kind of looking after myself, my own health and fitness and all the other things that come with that. And then so changed my career path from there.
Yeah. Wow. Awesome. And how many years have you been a PT now?
Probably coming up to 4.5, 5 years, I think. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Wow. Yeah. And massive change from, probably working a lot more nights, a lot later nights, and you're in the city centre. That's right.
Yeah, I'm based currently in the city centre, just right down in the CBD, so around all by the offices and all the main corporates are in that area.
And where were your bars or restaurants and stuff? What the hospitality work? Where was that mainly? Was that in Auckland or in like the centre or?
It was in Auckland, but then Wellington, and then I travelled around the world as well to different places, and just worked. That was always my career path from 16 kind of onwards, really, and mainly just because I kind of like to drink, so I ended up in hospitality. I don't drink anymore. It's a good industry. I got to meet lots of people, travel the world, and get my citizenship in New Zealand. So it did a lot for me as well. But it was definitely time to leave by the time I decided to do that.
That's awesome. I mean, it's funny because I think if you speak to most PTs, especially a lot of them that are younger to start with, I know I was, and a lot of the guys that I used to work with back home, and maybe bar one or two that are a little bit older, but we used to work hard, train hard, but party just as hard, if not harder. And I think that's kind of like, I know a lot of PTs over here as well, that's exactly the same. Everyone kind of thinks the PTs is usually just someone who's just, solely looking after themselves. But in those younger years, we're all kind of the same. We all like to have a drink and stuff, and then realize that, maybe we should cut it back and look after ourselves a little bit better. So, you're definitely not the only one.
It's probably an aging thing as well, right? You kind of get to 30 and you're like, oh, maybe I should start being a little bit more sensible now.
When those hangovers last like 3-4 days, that's kind of when that was me anyway. So how long have you always just been working at the gym in town or the studio in town, or is that your first place you worked? Or
yeah, that's the first place I worked. I met someone on the course who connected me to James Davis, who owns the studio Imagine Fitness. And so I was going to say that was one of the key things for me, actually. When I left, I didn't really want to start on the gym floor because I've always worked in customer service, and I know what we do is different, but there's a lot of carryover from the two industries, really. It's how you look after people and how you make them feel good. So I have business skills and I knew how to run businesses, so I wanted to have a lot of autonomy, and so I wanted a place where I could just work under my own banner. So that's I met James, and that was perfect for me there. And when I started, he gave me lots of support, and then he just pulled off the support as I no longer required it, as I kind of progressed in the industry. So finding the right place to work if you're looking for your first location as a PT is very important.
Well, so I think that's what most people, most people struggle with is that first job, and having someone, like James, to actually mentor you a little bit and help you out, and have that someone on your shoulder to be able to, ask. And that's kind of what we're trying to do here, is trying to be that. People can always message in or type it, email in, give us a call, what we need to do to, try and get a bit of help, because it is hard. It's hard when you first start out.
Oh, God. Really, really hard. Yeah, because you leave an industry behind where what I did, where I knew heaps of people and had all these connections, and then you join another one where you don't know anyone. So it was it was really, really difficult the first sort of 18 months, and I kept both jobs. So in the end, I kind of had like two kind of almost full-time jobs until that no longer worked.
Yeah, that'd be pretty full on, eh?
Yeah. But it was, I kind of was transitioning away from hospitality, so I was working at a theatre. But in the end, I just used to like run away after work and before work in my gym clothes. In the end, I just wore my gym clothes all the time, and I'd like run, do lunch stuff, and come home and just it was kind of time for me to take the full jump. But it's obviously quite a big moment jumping from a salary to a self-employed position and running your own business, right? So
yeah, it's definitely it's a big step, and that's one of the, like, a lot of people just jump in head first and go, I'm just going to leave my job, and then go jump straight into PT and be full-time trainer, no money coming in. I think doing what you did, like just trying to cross over slightly and scale it a little bit, it definitely helps, because you just don't have that financial worry as much, especially if you renting apartments or in houses and stuff like that. So that's cool. So what was one of your biggest struggles when you first started then? Because obviously, starting fresh, new career.
Probably it was just a lot. Like I know, for example, I was like exercising a lot, and I was like really into it, and then that kind of just went out the window. So I stopped, like, which sounds strange, but I just stopped looking after myself, put weight on, I had less time to exercise. So it was kind of really strange in that respect. So yeah, just the time, and then trying to like slowly transition out of my other job, slowly bring up, like, create my business while trying to keep all your good habits and stuff. It was just very very eye-opening, because like I had less time to train, less time to look after myself, less disposable income to buy my Lululemons and so it was actually it was a pretty steep learning curve, actually.
I think when I open my gym, my biggest thing is I've only just getting back into training properly, and even then I have like 3 good weeks, and I'll have like 2 bad weeks because I've got so much to do. I just trying to squeeze it in. And we give ourselves, I remember looking at thinking, I was saying to someone in a consultation, and I was like, actually, I feel you, because I'm in exactly the same position, So it's those sort of times when you can actually, have a bit more empathy with your clients, and actually be like, it's actually hard sometimes to grab that 45 minutes, that hour, when you've got so much going on, which helps when you talk to clients and you start building them.
Makes you more motivated. And I'm sure you're probably finding the same now, right? You're in a good routine, and then suddenly it's like, boom, okay, now, like, again, I'm struggling to fit my stuff in, even though there's lots of time, because you're on straight away kind of on business kind of adapt kind of mode.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. And you so you brought a lot, obviously, the business stuff to personal training, where usually it's probably the opposite. You usually get a lot of people that bring a lot of training knowledge to, generally people go to the gym like you did, go to the gym, enjoy it, and then end up wanting to be a trainer. Not so many come with a business background, or having that, a little bit of business basics and sort of staples in the background. So have you found that's really helped you compared to maybe some other people that you know?
Yeah, massively. Like I was probably in kind of the more kind of the older bunch in the class at AUT when we were studying our personal training course. And I just feel for those people who do leave when they're younger and they have less life experience and they haven't like worked in a business before, because you're learning everything then. Whereas I know how to do a P&L, I know how to do my accounts, I know how to budget and do all those things. So that was kind of, that was all there. So I had all that knowledge. So I do really feel for those new kind of PTs who just come out fresh as, and then suddenly it's like, oh wow, you've got so much more to being a personal trainer than just watching people do exercises. There's, you know, you spend so much more time behind the scenes. Like, if people could be really excited, oh, look at the hourly rate and things like that, but you don't realize, you know, all the hours that goes into what you do, right?
Yeah, that's it. It's crazy because what you just said then is probably what most people do, eh? When you're on a course, oh, you can earn up to 70 to 100 to $120 per hour. And you're like, okay, if I work 20 hours a week, wow, think how much time I've got left, like how much free time I've got. I'm barely working. But then you start and you realize all this other back end stuff. You know, because you're in a studio and obviously you don't have that much foot traffic, do you? Or do you get a lot of people sort of walk-ins?
We have a bit, but not for the past year because we've had terrible roadworks found in the city centre. But
Oh,
no,
no.
pretty much just trying to find your own people from the start.
Yeah,
James definitely drip fed me people to begin with, and still, if people come into the studio, then, you know, if James can't see them, then they kind of get handed off to me or Caleb, or it depends what their requirements are now. But we do most of there's 3 PTs that work there, and we do our own kind of marketing and our own finding of clients and things like that. So yeah, I had to be independent from the start, which I think got me like really good stead to kind of carry on for the, you know, for the future, really.
yeah, that's cool. And do you guys pay rent or do you like a share percentage?
We pay rent. We pay weekly rent. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool. I mean, I always find that sometimes I've read in so many forums people complaining about PT rent. I always think it's so much easier, so much cleaner, and when you actually do really well as a PT, you
Yeah.
end up paying less. When you're not doing that well, you know, then you might feel it. But if you do well, then you end up, you know, you make so much more just paying a one-off fee each week and sort of getting it over with. Did you?
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, go on.
I've heard that like some gyms like can charge up to like 35% commission per session. So I'm not really sure what the industry rates are, but when I hear that, I'm just like, whoa, that's seems really high for me. But
Yeah, it's a lot, eh? I mean, if you think of that, so you know, if you're doing a lot of hours, yeah, it ends up being a lot of money. But how many hours a week would you be training people, would you say?
good question.
Hard sometimes, eh?
20, and then I reckon I'll probably do like 50, 55 hours a week, probably in my business. And then
Yeah,
the one stuff or the 1 to 3 stuff just changes weekly. But 20, yeah, like, yeah, it just
yeah,
changes. Yeah.
just changes. Yeah, that's cool. And you 30 minutes, 45 minutes, hour, what's
Just
your kind of main?
I prefer 45 minutes for myself, but I do 30, 45 and an hour, just depending on what people want. Being in the city, a lot of people just want the half an hour lunchtime kind of slots and they want to run
Yeah,
back to work. So they work well. They're not necessarily my preferred because I just feel like it's a little bit rushed. But I think 45 minutes would be perfect. And in my next kind of stage of what I do, I'll probably try and stick around that 45-minute mark.
yeah. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I mean, I used to do a lot of 30 minutes as well. And I was saying always 45 minutes is kind of like that nice, you got a little bit extra time where you can just kind of breathe a little bit more and kind of, you know, slow them down a bit. But then sometimes an hour, you know, you can do a lot more, but sometimes you've got to try and keep them in the session and not sort of drifting off. So what's your peak times then? Because obviously being down in the city, is it mornings, middays, evenings?
Times, afternoons. So when I first started, I was like, I'm going to work all the time, and so that kind of made me end up crying on the floor sometimes. So as I've progressed over the last sort of 4.5, 5 years, I've definitely kind of got rid of half of Monday to do one-on-one sessions and half of Friday, and then I still don't have it quite right. I do 3 big long full days, which is kind of, it still gets a bit too much by the end of Thursday. But yeah, you definitely have to kind of, well, a good piece of advice for new PTs would definitely kind of work out when they want to work, because you do get into that stage where you just want to say yes to everyone, because obviously when you start, you need the people and you need the money. Let's be honest. But you can get yourself into a bit of a mess by just saying yes to any appointment on any day. So yeah, have a good clear idea of what days you actually want to work, I think.
Yeah, we go through that in the internship at the gym, and you know, I was the same. I actually was doing management at the same time as when I crossed over to PT, so I did a bit of both. And then because my hours finished at like 7:30, I think it was. It might have been 7. I think it was. I went 3 till 7 in the evening. And then I actually all my PTs from like 7 till like 9:30. But then obviously once I dropped my actual manager hours, I was still working from like 7 till 9. And then I ended up working from like 5 till 9 in the mornings as well. And yeah, having that set time makes a big difference, just to your sanity and kind of life outside the gym, as well. So what's your business model at the minute then? You said, you kind of mentioned that you do some groups, you do one-on-ones, and what is it you do?
I'm doing, what we're talking COVID now or like pre-COVID?
Pre-COVID, and then we're going to move into the COVID.
So pre-COVID, pretty much everything is face-to-face. So one-on-ones, one-on-twos, or a small group class that I do a couple of times a week, and then the seniors class, which can be up to 6 people. So just small groups, but mostly one-on-ones. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. And which do you prefer? Do you prefer anyone's in particular that you prefer, or?
I love all of them. That no, I'm joking. I like the variety, but I do like one-on-one because you get people opening up to you a bit more, and that's kind of a bit more helpful with the coaching side of things. But I do like a bit of both. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Because and then you talked about seniors, and that's something that's a big market that not as that many people touch. I mean, I do a little bit, I help out at a rest home, but you've really gone all the way in, and you've done some really cool things. Because you started your own kind of program and stuff, or you're working on a program.
Yeah, I've just done a YouTube thing since COVID. Actually, just doing an exercise a day called Seniors Move More, and I've been doing a class every. I've been doing that for maybe almost a year now, but doing a class twice a week, 45-minute class for seniors. Just doing based on strength and balance, and it's all supported by the ATC. So they do a full program. It comes under the banner of like Live Stronger for Longer. And so I just check in with those guys. They kind of assess you and give you a little certificate, and means you're kind of covered under that kind of banner. But it's just been a really fun population to kind of work with, and just to realise actually how I want to be when I'm 80. I still want to be fit and strong and healthy. So can be, it's just kind of a good experience to be around older people as well, because sometimes they're kind of hidden in society. So yeah, there's a lot to learn from all sorts of people, right? So it's nice population to work with.
Yeah, it's definitely the I do some work at a rest home and like a retirement village, and I always like you just said then, you think about how you want to be when you're older, whereas you don't really think about that. You kind of just think about where you are in the moment, or that within the next year, or you don't think like, okay, 30 years, 40, 50 years, what am I going to be doing? And when you see some of them still moving and, still, going to the shops, doing bike rides, like they do all sorts, don't they? Like it's amazing.
Yeah. I have a lady who she still works on the casual staff list at a retail clothing store. So she gets called in quite a lot and goes on daily walks and massive social life. They have like a better social life than I do, this group of ladies, always going out, nice clothes and drinking and watching the rugby. And I'm like, I'm in bed by like 8:30, and like these ladies are in the 80s and they've got this like social circle. It's it's just quite it's quite a good experience to be kind of connected with, I think.
Yeah. I think you take a lot away from them as well, like, because they've got I mean, no ones I've dealt with got both knees replaced, hip replaced, and they still come into the gym and just saying, what can I do? And because they want to do something. Whereas sometimes, in the industry, you get people who kind of force themselves to come and they don't really want to do anything, and they kind of whereas these guys really want to do something. So it's actually quite refreshing sometimes to be, to have that.
Yeah, and they can work harder than someone who's 40 years younger and more able, right? A different mental attitude. And, they might get a little bit of cancer somewhere and they're just like, oh, it's just cancer, don't worry. They just kind of go on with stuff. So they have quite, the people I've had contact with or have experienced, they're quite positive people. So it's quite a refreshing way to kind of look at life, really.
Yeah, no, definitely. So what's the so it's through ACC. So do they help fund it, or is it how does it kind of work?
Well, just kind of, so people go to ACC if they've had falls. Then ACC have this kind of program, mostly online, with like different kind of touch materials, just kind of helping people knowledge around how to strengthen yourself at home with little exercises. And so if people have issues, then they kind of go to ACC, and then a lady I don't know how that works exactly, but a lady at Harbour Sport kind of gets details from people, and then they kind of send people to different groups in their areas. So if one was in the city and they, had a fall and got registered with this group or this initiative, then they'd be given names of, say, myself and the YMCA, which do like a really awesome package or program for seniors. And so, they just kind of they have all the different classes in different areas. And I'm not really sure how the connection bit works, but they just kind of send people out and promote you and come and assess you and make sure you're fulfilling like 12 points or something like that as well. Yeah.
Right. That's cool. So something different, and it's a different, like semi-different income stream from what you're doing from the normal training.
It's not where I make my money. I kind of see it as a community kind of thing. So it's kind of just fun.
It's nice. So, but you're going to take that over and take it into like online now, and you're going to try and do something similar online, is it, or what's your kind of thoughts down there?
Kind of got the urge to get over my fear of doing video, because I get scared of doing video. So I was like, and I need to learn how to use YouTube properly. So I just kind of put the three things together really, and just started like an exercise of the day on YouTube. But I haven't really looked into how that's going to, or if and how that could be monetized or anything like that at the moment. I'm just doing it because one thing about these times is it's good to get up and have a purpose still. So I'm just kind of trying lots of different things in my business, and I like just getting up and having a day at work, whether you've got heaps of one-on-ones or whatever's going on at the moment as well. So just experimenting really, and seeing what works and what doesn't work.
That's it, and that's the beauty of the industry, isn't it? You can. It's not like just one way. You got so many different avenues you can go down. So you can always be really flexible, and especially when you need to be. But so much you can do and learn, and it's never ending.
Yeah. And I'm
sorry. So go on. You go.
I'm halfway through a course that I started like 3 years ago or something online. So it's with the Functional Aging Institute as well. So I mean, this is the perfect time to kind of catch up with those bits and pieces as well, isn't it? So yeah, definitely.
So that's that seems to be definitely part of your passion, is going down a senior sort of route.
One of them.
Yeah. And did you always think that was going to happen, or did you, when you first started, did you have a different kind of niche in mind, or was it just everything?
I don't think I started with a niche really. I just kind of wanted to help people. I've been through quite a few different, I guess, tough times in my life. So, and didn't have the best childhood and things. So, I kind of wanted to help people save themselves some time really, with all that kind of self-hate, lack of self-confidence stuff, and just kind of, I just found when I kind of got healthier and fitter, I just got more confident in all areas of my life, with relationships, with money, with work, with everything really. So I just kind of wanted to help people realize that they can achieve and do what they want to do, and they can feel good about themselves. So that's kind of how I got into it at first, which is a kind of a big kind of cloudy niche, not very refined. But from that I've just kind of a few different things. Like I love the health coaching type stuff, where it's more talking about habitual kind of habits and like food sensitivity testing and things like that. I like the movement stuff, and then the senior stuff is just like another interest as well. So it just changes a little bit. I'm a bit.
That's cool.
Yeah,
it's good. It's good to have different. I'm terrible. I get bored doing the same thing. Like I'm like, my wife tells me off all the time. I'm constantly like, oh, I've got an idea. Let's start this. She's like, no. Just focus on that one thing, finish that, and then you can do that. I'm like, oh, okay, I've got another idea. So I know what you mean. It's nice to have a few different things, because when you kind of start to get a bit of a dead end on one, or you kind of feel like yourself kind of dragging yourself to do something, you can kind of go do something else and come back to it with a bit more excitement again. So with your health coaching, how did you get into that? And
just through professional development really. So I've invest in myself a lot each year. So last year I did like heaps of professional development and worked with the Kaizen guys. I worked with Dave and Angela. And I mean, as you know as well, a lot of what we do is not anything to do with the physical. It's just kind of talking. And it's like so let's just take weight for an example. But if you're 5 kg overweight, 10 kg overweight, it's not, most of the time it's not just, oh, just eat better. It's just a psychological thing. It's like a feeling thing. It might be a relationship thing. It's just so much more. So I think our whole role is coaching. It's not just the, program delivery. It's really getting to know the person and knowing what makes them tick and how to change their habits. And so it just kind of grew from there, really. I just get really deep really quickly with people. So it just kind of becomes like a big kind of coaching sort of session anyway. But I can develop that further into, people who want to kind of go a bit deeper into like, blood tests and things like that as well. But that all just came from professional development, really, and like self-interest. And
cool. And so obviously, professional development and stuff is so important. That it helps keep your motivation up, and anytime, even like part of the reason why I'm doing this selfishly as well is, anytime I speak to other people, I'm like, wow, okay, they're doing such awesome things. Like, what am I doing? What can I do? And it just makes you kind of revs yourself up a little bit. So that's cool. So you did stuff with Dave and Angela, and what other type of professional development courses have you done?
Worked with JP last year as well, and did his like next level mentorships. I did 1 and 2. I did Dave and Angela's last Kaizen. What did I do last year? I went to the roadshow. I think I did Strike Savvy with Freya, so just like a little boxing kind of day.
Yeah. Cool.
I probably did some other stuff. I'm sure I did.
I
felt like I was doing professional development all last year. I probably spent about 10 grand on professional development last year, so I'm a little bit addicted.
You know what? It's nothing better. I think I don't know. Like when you try and explain it to people who aren't in the industry, sometimes it's kind of quite hard because like, how much? And you're like, oh yeah, it's probably spent this much. And like, but don't you know that stuff? I mean, I've done so many nutrition courses. I was like, haven't you done one already? Yeah, but you can always take one thing from. You might spend. It doesn't matter how much, a couple of grand on a course. You only take one thing away from it. If that helps like 10 people, then you're winning straight away.
And like you said, just a different energy, right? So you go to those courses, you meet 8 people on the course, and their energy straight away just kind of makes you kind of feel inspired and kind of kick yourself up the arse again, and then you go again on a different kind of different direction or slightly different thing. So they're to do with that as well, because we're islands, aren't we? We work by ourselves. So doing professional development connects us to a wee group of people that we may look up to or kind of on the same level as. So I think that's important as well. That's probably why I seek it out quite a bit too.
Yeah, definitely to speak to other people in the same, not just same interest, but same positions and stuff. And, for your mental health as well, I just think like, it's not just you who's got that one problem, maybe, other people have got the same ones. And like you said, to be able to share experiences and stuff and talk to people, and it does make a big difference. And, sometimes, like you said, you will come out and you feel energized, lighter, ready to go, which is cool.
Yeah.
I can't not talk about the PT Council.
Yeah.
So, how long were you the PT Council ambassador?
Pretty much the whole time. Like, I mean, I wanted to help out when I first started, but I just started the industry. So I was like, no one's going to want to listen to me because I've just joined the industry. But then Jean made me just be an ambassador with Nikki. So she was like, no, you're going to be an ambassador. There's none of this like, half-assing it or just helping. So I was ambassador pretty much from like my first sort of 6 months in the industry until this year. So I mean, that was obviously this podcast is aimed at new trainers, but that was one of the best things I did, really, because it just really helped my confidence, really helped with my connection to people, and just kind of I could go up to people with a reason, so I didn't have to just be like, oh, my name's Emma. I had actually a reason to present myself, and I just was totally awkward and felt really kind of scared doing it at first, but just developed throughout that time, really. And Jean and everyone else in the PT Council were really supportive, and then got some opportunities with Exercise New Zealand for different videos and bits and pieces as well. So it was such a worthwhile experience for me, definitely.
Yeah, that's cool. And that's what you're saying about meeting people and meeting different PTs and having that sharing those experiences. And I've talked about before on here about going to a PT Council meeting, and sometimes it's hard to get there, and I know I struggle, but I always know that after it I always feel revved up, ready to go again. And I'm always excited. And again, that sharing that, meeting other people, hearing what they're doing, and just raising your game as well. You always get to learn something from the meetings. So, so if you were a new PT, again, you'd definitely tell PTs to go and do that, and put the hand up, jump in.
Yeah, it's just free. Well, just going to them is just free. Just joining the group is fine. If you ask a question, like you get, some of the best PTs in Auckland, the country, answering your questions and telling you what to do or giving you advice, and not just as a sales thing. People actually genuinely give you advice and give you the time of day. So that's invaluable. And then, volunteering in something that you want to, where you can get something back as well, but then you can give something to the industry, I think is good if you find the right thing for yourself. But yeah, any way you can connect with your peers and people you look up to, I think is is just a no-brainer, really.
Yeah, it's definitely something that's hard to do when you first start out, I think, because people, you struggle to have that confidence and stuff to go. But once you go, you realize everyone's in the same boat. It doesn't matter how long you've been training for. It's hard to find in this industry. And again, one of the reasons why we do this is try and share people's knowledge and where they've been and stories. And I think, PT Council and stuff like that was definitely a place where it's kind of like a safe place. You can kind of go talk to people and everyone's willing to talk to you. Whereas I know I've worked at gyms before and the people around you that you will see every day aren't willing to share, how they've got clients or, what they're working on at the minute or, what course they're doing or books they're reading. And whereas I think the PT Council is one of those places where everyone's just like, here you go, what do you need? Yeah, I've read this, try this book, try this course, which is awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I've never worked at a gym like that because I've just went to the studio and then the three of us have worked together for 4.5 years. So it's like a little gym family. So yeah, everyone's pretty open to that sort of stuff. But I can definitely imagine, those situations where, people might be a bit closed off or a bit worried about other businesses. But I thought like in the city, because at one point we've got quite a few little gyms around us and people are like, oh, there's more gyms. And I was like, well, that's just a good thing because we all do something slightly different. So people can come in the studio and they want a 24-hour gym. So you send them over to Just Workout, or people want these like high-end classes, then you send them to District, which is no longer there. But you don't have to worry. There's lots of people and it's personal training for a reason, right? So if you can't help people, then don't feel scared about sending them off to somewhere that's better suited to them or somewhere they actually want to work out from or be at.
Yeah, definitely. And sometimes you finally come back as well. Sometimes you send them away and then they actually go away and they're like, actually, I don't want to be here, or that person was good enough to send me away that she obviously cares and she doesn't know me. And then because I know I found people that will go to a big, maybe a 24-hour or something, and they might even not done a trial. No one's really talked to them. They don't really get that kind of help that they need, and then they kind of you're the person that's told them there and helped them out already and told them what's best for them, and you don't even know them. You're not paying you. They sometimes come back and are like, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So if you a new trainer just starting out, what kind of advice, like if there's one thing maybe you would do differently now, or maybe one thing that you would tell a young trainer, some piece of advice, what would you give? What would you tell them?
For finding the right work environment, as I just said, so kind of even before you start the course, maybe have an idea where you want to go. Like if you're someone who's really young and you want a bit more support, then like the gym, the floor trainer, and kind of work up that way. Or just kind of work out where you want to place yourself. I think just connection with others straight away. That will just help with your confidence and I think you should always have some sort of mentor, even if it's not like you can't afford a mentor for the year or whatever, but just going into little bits of meetings or meeting someone for an hour or something like that. I think that's always a good thing to do. And lots of people just have a cup of tea with you anyway and help if you reach out to people. People like to help. So I just think connection, finding the right work environment, and making sure you've got like just business skills as well, or you're kind of you have an idea of what your business kind of wants to be. It doesn't need to be a perfect idea. It just needs to be. Actually, James James was good for this because I was always like a perfectionist and kind of freaking out, but then you just don't get anything done. So James is like, 70% done, it's done. Get it out there into the world, and you can always go back and kind of make it pretty and make it better afterwards. So just don't be scared about getting your stuff out there, I think, as well.
Yeah.
I think I might have kind of thought then, but
no, that's great. I mean, what you just said there is perfect, and it's great advice, because I think especially when you start out as a PT, I'm sure you would if you went to a few different gyms, I'm sure you would have got offered a few different places to go work. You went to, like, I know a lot of trainers that just jump straight into the first place that says, "Oh yeah, we'd love you to come and work here." Whereas, not bashing big gyms or anything, but a lot of the time they have their own KPIs to hit. They have their own amount of PTs that they essentially want at the gym, and there's not always that support. So knowing where you need and what you need yourself is really valuable, because one thing you don't want to do is start a business and then kind of realize that it's not the right place for you to be, change, and have to start that whole process again. Because those first 3 months can be pretty, first 6 months can be pretty hard. Yeah, they can be pretty rough, but it's well worth it in the end, which is
100%. It's the best thing I've ever done. And I mean, it sounds cheesy, but I have a purpose every day when I wake up now, and I think I never used to have that. And I just genuinely, like, my clients were like, "Oh my God, you really love your work. How are you going to cope during like COVID lockdown?" And I was like, because I do, I don't love every minute of every single day, but I do, love what I do. It's like my hobby, and it's like my purpose. So no, it's the best thing that I've ever done. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's one of those jobs, you're getting up early every day, working late, and if you can work, like you said, 55 hours a week plus, probably, on your business, and not including all your reading and learning and everything else, you've got to love it. Otherwise, you generally don't survive, because it shows to your clients and stuff as well. Thanks, Emma. It's been great talking to you. I mean, we've gone through heaps there. You told us everything, which is great. It'll definitely help lots of trainers. That's pretty much it. I think maybe one last thing. If you got any, because you do obviously you do quite a lot of different things, and your health coaching is probably different to what most people learn on the course. On the standard kind of PT course, that it's sets and reps and weights and whatnot. If someone wants to go down that route and go more into kind of a holistic health coach, that's that route, is there any books that they would read, or anywhere that you would kind of point them in that direction?
I mean, you could always obviously look up Dave Liao at Holistic Movement Coaching, I think his new company's called. HMC, sorry, Dave. Or just Paul Check's always a good one, just to kind of check out his stuff on like YouTube and bits and pieces. But just do heaps of reading. Follow the people that you like in the industry, like stalk them. I used to stalk them, like friendly stalk them, and then just kind of keep watching their videos and keep looking at their messages and see what they want to say. Or see what they say and see if it resonates with you, and kind of go from there, really. But I mean, there's hundreds of books. I just read everything from James Smith to just if someone else comes up and I hear someone on a podcast, I just there's no such thing as bad knowledge, really, because you can read something and then just discount it, or you can read things a bit quicker if you're not really interested and stuff like that. So just absorb. I think absorb, take what you need from it, and then get rid of that, and then on to the next thing, and just keep learning, really.
Cool. All right. Awesome. Well, it's been great talking to you. Thanks for your time. Hope everything. Hopefully, the lockdown will be over soon enough, and you get back to training your clients. We'll catch up once it's all over.
Okay. Cool. Thanks, Matt.
Cheers. Thanks, Emma. See ya. Bye.